I don't know how, bro. Like, after seeing all the crazy shit that happens in New York, it really is no surprise that Gotham City is based off of New York. I mean, New York's turned into a PvP server.
2 people in custody tonight after the FBI search of a Diamond District pawn shop. The 2 men had been buying stolen luxury items from South American theft groups and then reselling them at their store.
So the owners of this store right here are in FBI custody for allegedly working with a South American robbery crew to sell stolen items.
Wow.
Some of which were taken from the homes of professional athletes and other wealthy individuals all across America by a gang of Chilean immigrants residing in the U.S. illegally, living out a twisted...
Man. Isn't that nice?
...version of the American dream with the alleged help of an American business.
How you guys doing?
Body camera footage showing 4 Chilean nationals being questioned by authorities last month in Ohio. And in the trunk, a Louis Vuitton bag.
Where are you guys headed to today? Orlando? Wrong way. Florida's that way.
Oh, a bunch of fucking retards. It's a Chilean. I'm fucking disgusted, bro. Everybody knows that everybody from Chile isn't like this, okay? Like, that's just some people on some racist bullshit. I think that we know that you just had a few of your roaches show up in our country to do some dumb shit. Nobody's blaming you.
Jajinsky and Juan Villar are accused by federal prosecutors of regularly serving as fences for South American theft groups. Their Diamond District pawn shop raided Tuesday.
Someone is trying to break into the house right now. My daughter is there. This is Joe Burrow's house.
Federal prosecutors say the thieves made off with roughly $300,000 in luxury items, including watches, glasses, piles of cash, and Louis Vuitton luggage.
Jesus. These are, wait, and they're taking photos of themselves? What is with all the self-snitching?
Alleged gangbangers also posed wearing the NFL stars JB9 and number 9.
No way. They take a photo.
And chain necklaces.
I have to say, this is kind of a power move, though, right? I mean, at a certain level, I kind of respect it. I do. You got balls to do this, right? Like, yeah. I mean, it's self-snitching, yeah, but it's a power move. Now, it's not a good power move, but it is a power move.
They come here almost exclusively to commit and engage in criminality.
There you go.
I feel like my privacy has been violated in more ways than one.
Prosecutors say in their search Tuesday, investigators found large quantities of suspected stolen property here at the pawn shop, as well as from a storage facility in New Jersey, where they also found sports memorabilia and power tools that are commonly used to open safes.
These are the individuals that wake up every day with one intention, is to commit as many crimes as possible to make money in any way possible.
Yep.
So evidence links one of the thieves busted robbing a football player's home to a pawn shop in Midtown Manhattan.
So they're just selling it right back to the pawn shops. That's how it happens. Self-snitching? Yeah, it is. It's not so much a power move as an indictment of the weakness of the justice system. Yeah, there's a little bit of that too, right? Yeah, a little bit.
Nobody's talking about is this FBI bust reveals a shocking level of cooperation between illegal criminal gangs and New York City businesses that look and appear legitimate. And with one of these operations taken down right in the heart of Manhattan, you've got to wonder how many other predatory businesses like this are hiding in plain sight. Especially when crime statistics show New York City has experienced an astronomical rise in moped-related snatch and grab robberies over the last 2 years. An 8,000% rise to be exact, with criminals stealing watches, purses, bags, and other valuables from unsuspecting victims in some of the city's richest neighborhoods. Which
it makes sense, right? I mean, like, if you're gonna go, like, I mean, how many of you guys want to farm a dungeon that doesn't have any loot in it? I mean, it makes sense that they're gonna go do that, but it's just crazy that they're here to begin with, right?
Last summer, when thugs approached customers at restaurants, forcing them to put their Rolexes in pillowcases before speeding off, without getting caught. But it doesn't stop there. The city also saw a rise in robberies in Central Park and in Midtown by Times Square. And when you combine those with the out-of-control shoplifting epidemic we're experiencing, a troubling picture starts to emerge of a city flooded with so many illegally stolen items that they're now being sold openly at stores on the side of the street. And that brings us to the real reason why this bust is so important. It exposes a highly profitable industry that, when combined with New York's sanctuary...
This is what I was saying before about how, like, the businesses that are, like, enabling this need to be the ones that get fined for it. Because, like, not only are they doing this, but they're making money off of it, too. They're the ones that are making money off of these clowns, and they're paying them, and they're enabling this entire thing to happen.
City status acts as a magnet to bring the world's worst criminals to our city, where we not only allow them to hide from the federal government while they live in taxpayer-funded homeless shelters, but also the opportunity to be the worst versions of themselves, all thanks to New York's decriminalization of petty theft and assault, which, as you're about to see, has created a pipeline of products stolen from the law-abiding and then sold on the streets of New York in broad daylight.
Of course.
This right here is the entrance of the business where this gang was allegedly able to sell off stolen property. And it's right in the heart of Midtown on 47th Street, 6th Avenue.
We buy, we pawn, we sell. You sure do.
Diamond District. I got my wife's engagement
ring
here. Not at this place, at another place nearby. But the point is, this is an area full of legitimate businesses that have been here for decades. But hiding in plain sight was apparently a criminal operation of proportions nobody ever imagined.
Prosecutors say the men brokered the sale of countless pieces of stolen merchandise taken from across the United States by South American theft groups. The two were allegedly the middlemen, buying the loot from the thieves and selling it at their store. A customer of the pawn shop.
So what's unbelievable about this is that the store on the upper floors here, they're paying thousands of dollars a month to be right here in the middle of Manhattan, but they're selling stolen items from all across the country.
Well, that's why they can pay the $1,000, is they're buying stolen items and then they're selling them. That's the whole reason. That's how it works. Yeah, people steal stuff. That's new. The problem, so the issue with this is that it's like you're always going to have thieves, but having thieves that are from another country, that are nationals from another country, that are illegally here, and the state is unwilling to prosecute or go after them or even investigate the problem, this is a massive unforced error that doesn't need to happen, and it doesn't, like, there's no reason for this to exist.
Before we get into this wild story about how a gang of foreign criminals was able to break into homes all across America, it's important to understand that this collusion of legitimate businesses and unlawful residents of this country is nothing new in America's largest sanctuary city, which is home to over 400,000 people who are illegally residing in the United States. Which creates a big problem. You've got a massive number of people who can't legally work yet need to feed themselves, pay rent, and buy clothing, creating an opportunity for businesses to prey upon these people or to team up with criminal gangs and then prey upon the rest of society.
A gang of Chilean
exactly what they do.
Migrants are accused of snapping brazen photos after allegedly storming Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow's $7.5 million Ohio mansion. The alleged gangbangers also posed wearing the NFL star's JB9 and number 9 chain necklaces. Burrow's girlfriend...
It's shocking to me that it's like, how can you see these videos and then be like, yeah, sanctuary cities and all this stuff is good. Like, yeah, no, this is great. Like, this is the right side of history, guys.
These guys that were running stolen products up to the third floor of this store right here, they might look like jokers from the photos they posted on social media, but they knew exactly where they were going. They knew how to get in, and this might not be the first celebrity's home.
And that's the other thing is, like, these guys aren't stupid. Well, they are kind of stupid because they're taking photos of it, but they're not really, like, they're calculated.
However, the FBI says that stolen goods from multiple celebrity home invasions were being sold out of this particular business. The full extent to how those items got there has not yet been revealed by prosecutors. But the thing that's odd about this robbery is that these guys had no problem taking pictures and showing off with all their loot. Either this was their first time committing this sort of crime, or they'd done so many home invasions and successful raids that they figured nothing was going to happen to them. And that's
always how it is. Everybody that I know that did shit that you weren't supposed to do. It's when you start taking photos of yourself with things that you stole or things that you bought with stuff that you stole or you shouldn't have. There's always a level of like pride. And like, how many of you guys know this, right? There's like some friend that you have that like used to be cautious and then they stopped being cautious and then they got. Every fucking time that happens.
Were invincible, and the amount of money they were making probably made them feel unstoppable.
Someone is trying to break into the house right now. My daughter is there. This is Joe Burrow's house.
Investigators say the two men are linked to a nationwide burglary ring targeting the homes of high-profile professional athletes. That includes Kansas City Chiefs stars, Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce, NBA stars.
So what happened here is absolutely wild, and the details are incredibly shocking. Not just how the goods were stolen from this person's home, who did the stealing and how they were offloaded right here, but this is not the only business in town which apparently has a no questions asked policy when it comes to buying things that walk in the door from people who might be criminals. In fact, everything that can be stolen,
like a very beneficial policy for them,
gets stolen and resold here. You've got bodegas selling stolen food, clothing stores reselling stolen items from places like Macy's. And if you're curious about how these gang members might have met these people, well, there's a whole bunch of stores here that all say they're willing to buy valuables that might be secondhand. These criminals could literally have just gone up and down the block with a briefcase full of stuff, showing it to people until they found a willing accomplice. And the crazy thing is, it looks like they would have gotten away with their heist if they hadn't done something really stupid.
Body camera footage showing 4 Chilean nationals being questioned by authorities last month in Ohio.
Where are you guys headed to today? Orlando? Wrong way. Florida's that way.
The man in the front passenger seat wearing a Cincinnati Bengals beanie, Burrow's team, and in the trunk, a Louis Vuitton bag. And
how are you gonna wear his hat? You're gonna break into his house wearing his hat. That is a level of disrespect. Oh my God.
A shirt from LSU, where Burrow played in
a traffic stop. These guys were brought down by bad driving. Their car was full of stolen belongings, and the officer asked them where they were going, and they said, "Oh, we're going to Florida." And the officer's like, "Guys, Florida's that way." And this is crazy. They had $300,000 worth of valuables from this guy's home. The homeowner...
What a bunch of retards. And how'd they even get pulled over? I bet they're probably speeding. They had a headlight. Like, how do you... If you're driving with a bunch of stuff that you shouldn't have in the car, you need to be... Bro, you have to be checking every tail light, making sure every, like, inspection is there. Like, because they're not going to just randomly pull you over, usually, right? Like, and also another thing is that you're done, because like this is on the highway, right? And so if you're on the highway, that means you let a cop run up behind you and run your plates, because that's how they get you, is that they go up behind you. The police cars have a plate reader. The plate reader hits the numbers. It says, uh-oh, look at this. And that's it. So they're fake plates. Maybe they might have fake plates, right? Exactly. And so anyway, stolen vehicle maybe? Then that's really dumb. That's crazy stupid. If you've got a stolen vehicle, you're doing that. So, like, this is insane. Yeah, you got to be checking all the money. Exactly. Like, you can't even get that straight. It's embarrassing.
Assigned to a 5-year, $275.
You never let a cop pull up behind you like that. You always go to another lane, take an exit off. If they're coming up behind you, you've got to go to, like, do something, slow down, speed up, do something to where they don't get behind you and read your fucking plates. Fucking obviously. How do you not think like that?
$5 million contract, which had a $40 million signing bonus, so he's incredibly wealthy. And apparently his home had security guards there, but these guys got in when the shift changed, revealing an incredibly high level of sophistication to this raid. And apparently
it's not sophisticated, it's not.
They had planned this out in advance. They did not just show up, break the window, and steal whatever they could find, not knowing whose it was. Yeah. Apparently, the authorities found photos of the home in question on their cell phones that were taken prior to the break-in. And then they discovered something
embarrassing.
else that tied them to the owners of this business right here.
There were 4 men arrested for that. And
like you even have the phones. Like, I mean, you don't. You can buy a phone for $50. You can buy a smartphone for $50. Like.
To federal prosecutors, one of the defendants, Djinsky, his cell phone is connected to the 2 men who were arrested in that case. So that was the connection to Joe. They're still trying to sort out all of the victims.
No, I'm not talking about like a burner. I'm not talking a flip phone. I'm talking about like a fucking, like, you can buy a smartphone for $50. You can buy a good smartphone for $50. You can do it right now at Walmart. You can buy it with cash. You don't have to give an ID or anything. This is embarrassing. Well, how do you get caught? Well, good is debatable. No, it's a high-quality phone.
Identify the property in this case.
Wow. I think it's either a Samsung or there's like maybe, I think it's T-Mobile. I think it's actually Samsung that sells one.
That is way more than some casual relationship.
Yeah.
The people that ran this business were in direct contact with this gang that was out robbing celebrities' homes. And that could mean one of 2 things. It could mean that the owners of this business have the cell phone numbers of a lot of people who bring them expensive stuff. After all, there's a lot of businesses on this street that have rare and expensive things. And the last thing you want is for your customer to be standing outside your front door with a briefcase full of this stuff in New York City. It would be incredibly bad for business if one of your customers was followed and tracked down while making a delivery. And if you're headed to a New York City pawn shop or jewelry exchange and you get there and the door's locked, that could be a big problem. So maybe the cell phone connection, not that big of a deal. Or it could mean that these guys were in cahoots and they were in contact with these criminals as
they're doing the transactions at the business? They don't even care. Bro, they don't even give a fuck. Like, this is embarrassing. How is this? Oh my God. Max level efficiency? It is. It's super. I don't understand. This is crazy. It's been like this for 15 years. Your face on the hat.
Premeditating which homes they were going to hit up. Only time will tell, however, if a business gets busted reselling knowingly stolen merch, which they may have helped the criminals steal, they could be going away for a long time. But even if they do, as we touched on earlier, the criminal element that is stealing all of this wealth is still going to be out there, which means the opportunity to profit from the sale of all those stolen.
Well, if they're doing business with these individuals and they're not doing proper vetting of the things that they're buying, that means that they're the ones who are really benefiting from these illegals being in the country. Like, these illegals obviously get money out of it, etc., but they're getting peanuts compared to what these pawn shops and these other places are getting. They're the ones, like, they're the Kia boys, right? They steal a Kia for $50. Well, somebody else takes the Kia, robs a bank, and they make 10 grand. That's really the people making the big money. As long as you know the cashier, or leave without signing. I mean, like, I'm pretty sure that I don't know enough about pawn shop. I thought you had to sign something if you sell something to them that's over a certain amount of value. Is that not true? You do, yeah, because it's like over $1,000, right? It depends on the state. You do in Texas. Uh-huh. Right. That's what I thought. You have to give ID. Yes. It's over $100.
Stolen items will still be there as well, and the opportunity to make money supplying these criminals with the one thing they need to do their dirty work, that's not going anywhere either.
It's a 99. No, that's a tax form.
So criminals, gang members, thugs. There's a lot of people like that living in New York right now, and they need to arm themselves to get up in the morning and go about doing what they're here to do, which creates an opportunity for people in possession of things that are banned to sell them and make a lot of money because they've got a lot of customers who need those things to go about accosting others, stealing, robbing, home invading, etc. And sadly, this criminal opportunity has attracted people to New York who are just the absolute worst of the worst.
These are some of the worst criminals suspected Tren de Aragua gang members, allegedly making money selling guns on the streets of the city. But they had no clue they were selling to undercover NYPD officers.
When Trump said they're not sending their best, I didn't know how right he was. I didn't even understand that. That's incredible.
Police commissioner.
So in New York, you've got so many criminals that one gang can make money arming other gangs who make money using those things, stealing and exploiting the rest of the city. And apparently this recent gang bust saw 10 members of the Venezuelan gang Tren de Aragua all busted for selling weapons. And apparently these criminals had quite an arsenal of fully automatic devices, and they were also in the United States without permission. But apparently they were making money supplying New York's growing criminal underworld.
Which is stupid. Like, why would you even have an automatic weapon to begin with? Like, unless you're fighting other gangs, you're never going to need that. You're breaking into houses that nobody's there in the first place. It's just stupid.
With the tools of its trade, and they only came here because this is a sanctuary city with soft on crime laws and a defunded police force. Something that's pretty obvious to see when you look at the statistics around moped crime and how it's exploded here, with snatch and grab robberies in this city going from non-existent to a daily occurrence. But apparently arming an ever-growing population of criminals here locally wasn't enough for these guys, and they were exporting their operations to other states.
Kat says their criminal activity includes other crimes reaching further than the city.
And included Connecticut, Pennsylvania, Texas, Florida, Colorado.
When confronted during a buy and bust operation, the NYPD says the gang members put up a fight. Still, detectives.
So these guys, apparently, they didn't want to go down without a fight. The police knew coming into this that these were violent criminals. But it gets...
That's crazy. They're actually going to go against the police, too. Jesus. Hey, Texas, were you a supporter? No, bro. Like, absolutely not. Like, I don't support this shit at all.
Even worse, because look at this. One of the guys that they took down has prior arrests for weapon possession.
Wait, so he has prior arrests, but I thought he wasn't supposed to be here.
Now that's incredibly serious. Weapons are no joke here. You're not even allowed to have them in certain parts of town. And if you get caught with an illegal one, that's a felony, which is supposed to come with prison time. Yet this guy somehow still had his freedom. He was living life as a criminal without a care in the world. And what kind of backwards message does that send to people who want to come here and be dangerous? We got signs all over Midtown where I'm at right now saying...
Didn't they read the sign where it said you're not supposed to have a gun? You're telling me he didn't listen to the sign? What the hell is this?
You can't have weapons, yet when people get caught with them, nothing happens to them. That's why you've got people...
No, but they have the thing with, like, the gun, and then there's a circle around it with a line over it that says no. You don't need to read it.
That are here selling them illegally. And that's why you've got people that are using them to commit crime all over town. And apparently also in other parts of the country where they're invading the homes of wealth.
I think that he was just breaking the law intentionally. I think that he didn't respect the law. I think that's the truth. He didn't care what the sign said.
Rob them and then sell whatever they stole on the streets of New York.
Tren de Aragua, or TDA, is a violent gang from Venezuela. On social media, police say they display their criminal enterprise and how they're expanding day by day here in the city.
They come here almost exclusively to commit and engage in criminality.
So there you have it. These gangs, these criminals, they didn't get here by accident. No, they came here because this is the perfect place
to... It would logically make sense, right? Because, like, there's not a lot of... Like, I would assume that a lot of the like agriculture jobs would be like much further down south. Like New York is fucking cold. There's snow here. So like what job are you going to do? So you're going to come into America. You're probably coming through Mexico. Like, I mean, maybe not, right? But in a lot of cases, I would assume through Mexico. And you're coming in here. And you go all the way to New York. Like, bro, you're going there to do something specific. Crime tourism? Yeah, exactly. Canada too? Yeah, but like it would make sense that more people would be coming from Mexico. But you're right, Canada, of course, is going to have some.
Do what they want to do. And based on what our country's learned about some of these gangs, like this Tren de Aragua, everyone should have seen this coming. Because this one group in particular, they are human exploiters. Yeah. It underpins every single crime they're involved in. And asylum seekers in New York City shelters.
I find the most incredible thing to me about this, above everything, is the fact that it's done so brazenly with absolutely no consideration of like, am I going to get in trouble or not? That's what's so shocking to me about this. It's that it's not that it's happening. Of course it's happening, but that people are doing it in plain sight and they don't even care. Like they don't give a shit. Like they're just doing it. That's how it is in South America. I don't know about that. People actually defend this. I don't know.
There's reported being approached by gang members demanding that they join their gang and start committing crimes. Saying no would result in someone being branded an outsider. A fate nobody living in a government-funded homeless shelter that bans police from entering wants, because in these places the only morals come from the criminals that have taken them over. And of course these aren't the only criminals that have come here because of what New York City.
You can't expect the migrants to hold each other accountable. It's not their job. Number one, it's the police's job. And number two, it's like, yeah, if they get taken over by, like, I don't really in a lot of places like fault the citizens for like having extremism inside of their country, because the extremists, if you don't cooperate with them, they'll kill you, right? I mean, that's, of course they're going to do that.
People get away with. We've got this theft ring of criminals from Chile who were here to do business and sell things to corrupt establishments that have a legitimate presence in this city. And we know that terror watch list suspects were apprehended at the U.S. southern border over the last few years and then disappeared into the country. This is incredibly frightening. And all of this crime and lawlessness is enabled by sanctuary city policies that bar the police here from cooperating with ICE. And when you stack on top of that...
Oh my God. How do people put up with this shit? This is shocking.
That our lax justice system, this entire place is just a playground for criminals to learn and perfect a trade they should never be engaged in the first place. What do you think about that? Are New York City's rules the reason we've got budding criminal empires sprouting up all over the place here?
Of course they're the rules.
Let me know. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.
Adam 20.
I cannot fucking believe that people put up with this bullshit. How do people put up with this? It's a PvP server. Yes. It's shocking. Chile is the only South American country currently within a visa waiver program where technically they allow criminals to enter legally as tourists. Now an entire country is at risk to lose its benefit because some losers think they can outsmart the police. Well, none of this would have been a problem if the police were able to go after them in the first place. And that's the issue. It's that, yeah, you're right. There's a lot of guys from Chile who probably want to come to the U.S. and there's no problems, right? It's not an issue. I think that's probably the vast majority. But you've got a couple of problem boys doing this, and now everybody's losing their fucking mind. Yeah, crypto scams or migrant burglaries, pick one. I would rather have crypto scams because everybody opts into a crypto scam. Nobody opts into a burglary. Yep. So I know this is like just a totally stupid, irrelevant, fucking like dumb question that nobody should even be asking. But to the extent that you would ask, that's the answer. That's what I think. So yeah. Wow. Can you imagine police being proposed, these policies being proposed during the Cold War era? I don't even know. I have no idea. Did they even bother to take fingerprints of any person entering like in Asia? I have no idea. Yeah, I don't know. And Democrats create PvP zones and claim to be the victims for others to generate a solution that they complain about the solution. I just think that there's so much dissonance that goes on with this that it's shocking to me that it's even happening. It really is. It's amazing for me to see this. And I should tweet this at Trump. Yeah, I should. Somebody needs to figure this shit out. It's embarrassing, man. It really is. And I can't believe that people in New York, there's enough people in New York that are okay with this, that they keep this policy going. Yeah.